Brexit Deal.
Almost 2.5 years have passed since Britain voted to leave the EU. Negotiations on what that leaving would look like started in March 2017, and we've just reached the climax of those talks. Or have we? We've had years of chat about borders, Ireland, customs unions, citizens' rights, Gibraltar, and fishing? Time dragged on, and it seemed like neither side would ever agree to anything. Then, in November, things picked up pace, as all other 27 EU member states finally voted to approve the Brexit deal. So what deal were they voting for? The deal consists of two parts. Firstly, the Withdrawal Agreement. This is the rule book that will be used to look after the things that are initially affected by Brexit, such as trade, the Irish border, Brits living abroad, and also EU citizens living in the UK. It's not rules for what will happen after Brexit, it's rules for what will happen during Brexit. Yeah, it hasn't even started yet. It's like being married and talking about how we would break up for 2 years. That is what we've just done. In March, we will actually break up, but we will still live together and our lives will still be pretty entangled for at least a year or so afterwards. So we will follow the rules that we just agreed on so that we can eventually move out and then start dating again as smoothly as possible. Secondly, we've agreed to a political declaration, which is a bit like a wish list for the relationship between the UK and the EU when Brexit happens, i.e. when we finally move out. We've also agreed a £39 billion divorce bill for the luxury of breaking up. So what happens now? All EU member states are happy, but back home, it seems to disappoint everyone, and that's a big problem. Leavers see it as too much of a compromise on independence, and Remainers have never liked Brexit, so they're obviously not going to like it. Theresa May needs Parliament to agree to this deal so that we can continue with the process and we can break up on good terms and we have an idea of what the relationship will look like afterwards. May insists she will not renegotiate this deal, but it still looks unlikely that Parliament will pass this in December. Labour, the Lib Dems, SNP and many Conservatives are already set to vote against this deal. Then there's the DUP of Northern Ireland who are threatening to break their deal to support the government in protest over the Irish border issue. But that's a whole other video. So if Parliament doesn't vote for it, what will that mean? Well, maybe after a dash back to Brussels and a tweak here and there, May will be able to get the deal passed through Parliament a second time lucky. Maybe May will resign or get pushed out by her own party, and after a quick leadership contest, the new leader will try to get this tweaked deal approved by a majority in Parliament. Or May will call another general election and take a gamble that the public agrees with her in order to strengthen her hand in Parliament and get this deal passed. Or Labour could force a vote of no confidence in May, which would trigger a general election, which means that we could have a different government with different priorities. Or a second Brexit referendum gathers steam and all of this is reversed in what was a super fun experiment. And finally, and this is the big one, if we can't agree to this deal or no other one between now and March, we leave with no deal. That means that the UK and the EU will part ways without agreeing to how they will break up. So, how they will manage trade, immigration, citizens' rights, international security, or what our relationship will look like after the breakup. No one knows what a no-deal Brexit looks like. But I would imagine it's going to be something between the Armageddon and Garden of Eden that's being projected by each side. But we're going to have a whole nother video to tackle that cliff edge. Hold tight.